Hey there. So I got some pretty good feedback over the pre-release guide and the sealed build that I did earlier. So I decided why not go ahead and make another one. FFG is kind enough to send me a box to get to some early content. So I decided to do another sealed build with it. So next part of this video is going to be just me building a sealed pool with 6 packs that I got. I'm going to talk through similarly to how I did in the previous video. If you are interested in some more like strategy content regarding sealed, please check out that video. I'm not going to redo all the content from there, so we're just going to jump right into that sealed build. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It helps out the channel, and go check out my Patreon as well if you're looking for some more content from me. Hope you enjoy the build. Take care. All right, big thanks again to FFG for sending me this box so I can do some more sealed content for you. We're just gonna get to it, gonna crack some packs, build another sealed pool. Remember, at the pre-release, you'd be able to use an Ahsoka or General Grievous leader, but we're gonna do this as though we were just playing sealed without the pre-release, so we are not gonna have access to those 2 leaders, only the 6 leaders that we open in these packs. Unless, of course, we got to showcase Ahsoka or Grievous, in which case we would be able to use them. All right, what do we got? So we got a Maul leader. And remember, again, with the bases, you can use any color base. You don't need to use one that you opened. So we got 501st Liberator. It's a fine green playable soldier. Of the 501st is a okay red hero playable. Vanquish, we like having access to removal. Aggrieved Parliamentarian, not a card we're really ever excited to play. Droid Commando is quite a good villain green card. Dendup's Loyalist, a fine red common playable. Patrolling AAT, like nothing exciting, but a card that, you know, in sealed, you have to end up playing some not great cards. And this is one of those, but it's going to be okay. Clone Dive Trooper, not exciting. Geonosis Patrol Fighter, though, is a pretty good yellow common. Has some exploit synergy, has bounce. Magna Guard Wing Leader, probably the best card we've opened, and maybe, or the second best, but both our best cards are now in villain green, so definitely looking at that. Hello There is an interesting blue hero removal card. I quite like it. Jesse, decent red hero card, and our rare is Corner the Prey, which is not a very exciting card. Clear the Way foil, good card. So with 1 pack, I look already and I'm just eyeing these 2 green villain cards, being like pretty solid. And then we also have like a green playable. We also have a couple decent hero cards and 2 removal in blue. That's the only thing we've opened in blue, but they're both removal, which is something I'll also keep an eye on. The next leader we got is Dooku and base. All right, Knight of the Republic is quite a solid hero blue unit. Take Captive, not a great card. Volunteer Soldier, it's filler. I ended up putting one in a previous deck for sealed that I made, so he makes the cut sometimes. Strategic Analysis is the draw 3. Don't love it for sealed or really constructed. Daughter of Dathomir is a fine common unit to be playing in blue. It's a 3/5 that sometimes has Restore 2, costs 4. You know, it's fine. It'll probably make the cut if we play blue. Here's Bold Recon Commando is a 3/4 Saboteur for 3. I think this is actually quite a good common. We'd play that in any red deck. On the doorstep is a very important villain yellow card, the one that makes 3 battle droids. So anything exploit, this helps tremendously. Heroes on Both Sides, I think, is a way too situational card. It is, you know, just hero neutral, but not great. Freelance Assassin, I think, is a fine yellow playable. It's a 4/2 for 3 with that extra buff when played that you can pay 2 to deal 2 damage to something. So it's a little better in the late game. I like modal cards like that. Synchronized Strike is, you know, fine hero removal. It's not super exciting, but it can do quite a lot of damage sometimes. Unshakable Will, not a super exciting upgrade. Twice the Pride, also not a super exciting upgrade, primarily because, you know, it's double red and very hard to play a deck like that. And then Morgan Elspeth is our rare, very good on-rate unit. It's actually the card that I previewed on my channel during the preview season. I think this makes for quite a good draft card. And then we got a Hyperfoil Confederate Tri-Fighter, cool looking card. Decent unit to be playing in draft and in sealed. Not like super exciting, especially because the life gain clause on it probably, like, we don't expect people to be playing like a heavy life gain build. All right, next we got Padme. So we do have a hero leader if we need one. All right, Strategic Acumen, pretty situational card, not one I'm super excited about. Reckless Torrent, though, I think is quite a good red unit. You know, even without the coordinate going off, it's still just a 3/1 in space for 3, which can mostly trade with a lot of other 3 drops and push some damage. So pretty good. Warrior Drone, 1/4 for 1, not exciting. Confederate Courier, though, quite good, especially if we're going to be playing things with exploit or things that care about tokens. So, and goes right into our pool of these other couple villain green cards. Relentless Battle Droid, just, you know, this is stats. This is something I want to emphasize a lot, is just like units with stats. So like Daughter of Dathomir here, 3/5 for 4, like a lot of time that's fine. Like, it's not exciting. It's certainly not something you'd be happy about in constructed, but in draft and sealed, you're much more okay just playing like units like that. And of course, this can be a 5/5 for 4 sometimes, which is cool. Wartime Trade Official, so similar to Confederate Courier, if we end up in this like blue-green villain with like tokens and separatists and exploit, then we're pretty happy about that. And we have Count Dooku as a potential leader to lead that. We just, right now in blue-green, we don't have any payoffs. We don't have anything with exploit to really capitalize on this courier or the Wartime Trade Official. Dwarf Spider Droid, an unexciting but playable unit. Creative Thinking, and okay, playable, nothing special. ETA Light Interceptor, a pretty poor card. Plo Koon, though, is kind of a bomb. I'd be incredibly happy playing this. So far, the hero pool is a little light. Let's actually switch these so we have all the villain on the bottom. All right, so Plo Koon's awesome. If we're gonna be able to pull off a yellow hero deck, we're definitely looking at that. So I'm already looking a little bit at blue potentially for that. Of course, we'd have to play yellow, but we have a couple of red cards as well. We don't yet have a leader that can play anything other than green, and green is definitely our lightest color, just in hero and in neutral. So until we open another leader that hero can play, that can move us out of green, I wouldn't be too excited about that. Manufacture Soldiers, you know, it's a double green card. I don't think we're likely to be able to play that particularly well. I'll put that here. Lethal Crackdown is blue villain removal. You know, it hurts yourself, but I'd still probably play this in most of my blue villain decks. Oh, and we got a legendary, Ayla Sakura. Very good card to be playing in limited and sealed. So, and it is in green now, so maybe we will be able to play green. Like we opened Ayla and Plo Koon in that pack. All of a sudden, everything that I was looking at with villain, I'm like, all right, now I'm really eyeing heroes too, because probably the 2 best cards we have opened so far are Plo Koon and maybe Ayla. We have a few other really good cards, especially these villain green cards, Morgan Elspeth, the removal that we have in blue, like Hello There and Vanquish. But as far as like pure rate, pure power, Plo Koon and Ayla, really strong. And we found a 2/3 raid 1 for 2, which, you know, I'm actually pretty happy about that. Like in green, now we just have a good 2-drop, and we want to be able to play a decent amount of turn 1 plays. All right, that's half the packs. We have some ideas, right? We have blue-green villain as a potential idea. We have green-yellow hero, potentially even like yellow-blue or yellow-red hero. So few things going on. The colors we're kind of light on are definitely villain yellow and villain red. And then heroes are really mixed between all 4 colors right now. Next pack, we opened an Obi-Wan. So we can lead a blue hero deck with another color now. So we've opened up our potential pool quite a bit with that pick. With that pack, sorry. All right, Pelta Supply Frigate is a decent green hero card. Like, I would put that in a deck. It's not like a bomb, but it's solid. Grenade Strike, solid red removal. Grievous's Reassembly is probably not a card I'd be too happy to play. Obedient Vanguard is a 1-drop in green. Not great either. Clone Heavy Gunner, though, is a fine 2-drop. It might not be super easy to turn on Coordinate early, but later in the game, maybe. But, you know, it's filler, but it's okay filler. Grief Parliamentarian, no thank you. Guarding the Way, also not something I'm too happy about. Hidden Sharpshooter, though, I think this is one of the better commons for sealed. 4/3 Ambush for 4 in yellow. Ambush, possibly the best mechanic in sealed. It's the way you're going to be able to enable clean 2-for-1s early in the game. So I would definitely be happy to put that in a deck. Breaking In is, you know, a mini surprise strike that gives Saboteur, another good yellow common. Savage Oppress, a pretty massive red villain card, 7/7. This can be quite good. It's not yet like really enticing me. Like the villain red pool is pretty weak right now. Our red pool in general doesn't have any like amazing cards, so we would need some help before we'd be happy about red villain. Private Manufacturing. If we're playing with a lot of tokens, I'd probably play this card. And then on top of things is another decent yellow common, of which we just, it's an uncommon, but we just opened a few like yellow cards that will definitely help, especially if we play yellow hero. And then our rare is Foresight, not a card I'd be happy to play in sealed. And then our foil, Old Access Codes. Nothing super exciting about that upgrade. All right, pack number 5, here we go. Another Padme, so that doesn't really help us in terms of opening up our pool. Subjugating Starfighter is a solid green common. It has Ambush. It sometimes makes a droid. I'd be happy with that. Daring Raid, good removal or burn, solid card. Devastating Gunship, I think, is another pretty solid villain blue card. Republic Tactical Officer, a very good green common. You just have to make sure you have some Republic units, but there's going to be quite a lot in general, so pretty happy about that. More good cards. Senatorial Corvette is a solid space unit, 5/4 for 5. Your opponent discards a card sometimes. Well, they always do when it dies. It's solid, right? We're just looking for critical mass of like solid playables, and it helps. Volunteer Soldier, Hyperspace. Droid Starfighter, not exciting. Elite P-38 Starfighter, though, very good villain yellow card. Unfortunately, our villain yellow pool now only has 2 cards, and it's still quite shallow overall. And we got an exploit payoff in yellow. It's not a very powerful exploit payoff because of its effect isn't fantastic, but it's still just like a chunky unit, lots of stats. And we just opened another Magna Guard Wing Leader. That villain green pool continues to look pretty exciting. Duchess's Champion, unfortunately, double blue. Gonna be very hard to play that. And we got a Hyperspace of the Clone Wars, which looks really cool. I'm not really sure this is gonna be a very good sealed card, but it has some potential, especially late in a game. Like, you make 5 clones, they make 5 droids. You might just win the race if you do something like that. So not writing it off completely. All right, we're going to talk about this a little bit because we just opened an Indefensive Camino in the same pack as the Clone Wars, and all of a sudden, I kind of just want to jam this in my sealed deck because this is a combo that works pretty well. You play Clone Wars on one turn. Let's say you have 7 resources. You do Clone Wars. You make 5 clones. Next turn, you play Indefensive Camino. All your Republic units get restored to, and when defeated, they make a Clone Trooper. You now basically guaranteed to win any race because every clone you made the previous turn is going to restore you. And if your opponent starts having to trade into your units, well, basically your units just die into more units. This is a combo that might be good enough for Constructed. Unclear yet. It might be too slow, but certainly I think I kind of just want to play this in sealed. I think you probably would win the game if you were able to pull this off. So that's really cool. And you know, it's in the green, and we kind of wanted to play green hero potentially, so I'm really looking at that as being a strong option. And we got a nice exploit payoff for villain blue. This one has an on attack that gives an enemy space unit -2/-2, but the best part about it really is that it's a 5/7 in space that you can get out for 4 resources potentially. So like, especially if you do like on the doorstep, next turn you can sacrifice 2 of those droids, play a giant space unit that's going to be very difficult to deal with. All right, last pack. We got a Newt Gunray, so another exploit leader. I would likely prefer Dooku for most of these kind of exploit builds. I think him being able to give other units exploit, something like the devastating gunship over here, making it cost 3 is pretty important, and Newt's stats are just very poor in general. But of course, if we wanted to do something like villain blue-red, we now could, with exploit, we can now move towards Newt and not have to play green. Holdout Blaster is a okay-ish upgrade. Elite Core in Hero Blue is like a fine playable. Coruscant Guard, quite a good 2-drop to play. It's just a 3/2 for 2 most of the time. Sometimes it'll have ambush. Would definitely just slam this in any of my decks. The 00 M series officer is a decent red 2-drop. It's Spoken Representative. Not a super exciting play in Heroes. B2 Legionnaires, 5/4 Sentinel Overwhelm for 5. It's neutral, right? You don't have to be villain for this, interestingly enough. I think it's just a good card. It would go in my green decks, and our green pool is like really stacked right now. So we're just having to figure out, are we going to do hero green or villain green? Because both of those are basically our strongest options. And then what else are we pairing it with? Armored Saber Tank, not a very good card, but a certainly playable one. Favorable Delegate. It's a 1/5 for 2. I don't like this in most decks. Where I do think this card actually shines, if you open up an Anakin leader, you can now use this unit to really trade up, get you a lot of value. So there is some merit to playing it. Here's just a 3/2 for 2 in Hero. This card would go in all my Hero decks, basically, in sealed. It's just fine. I like having 6 to 8 2-drops in my sealed decks, and you usually need to play cards like this, and this one, you know, I like 3/2s. I think they're good in sealed. Clone Cohort, not an upgrade I'm super excited about. Tactical Droid Commander, a solid exploit payoff in villain yellow, although I don't think there's very much of a chance we're ending up in villain yellow. And then Squad Support, this is it could be a pretty high upside upgrade, right? It gives +1/+1 for each trooper you control. I think, unfortunately, not being able to put this on a leader really knocks it down a peg. And then we've got the rare base for the droid ones, the green one. 24 life, but you get 2 droids when you deploy your leader. It's a pretty interesting one, to be quite honest, especially if you have payoffs. Like if you can get 2 droids and play like a bomb, like an exploit bomb. Let's say you open like a Malevolence or something, maybe something else like Gore. I think you could very much justify playing this base. And our foil is drop in, creates 2 clone troopers. You know, it's okay. All right, so now how do we decide what to do? Because we want to play green, right? The green pool of neutral cards is quite strong in general. We have a couple 2-drops that we're pretty happy with. We have a 3-drop that's okay. A 5-drop that's quite good. We have the combo, the Clone Wars Defensive Camino stuff. Subjugating Starfighter, very good. Not super excited about some of these other ones. Obedient Vanguard would probably make the cut too. And then in Hero, we have the Tactical Officer, the Supply Frigate, our Bomb, ALS Sakura, and then Synchronized Strike, all solid cards. But in Villain, Confederate Courier, 2 Magna Guards, and a Droid Commando. Quite good stuff there as well. So the tiebreaker is going to be, what are we pairing it with? I think likely it's either, if we're going villain, it's probably going to be moving into this blue stuff because we have an exploit playoff, we have another enabler in the wartime trade official, a really solid 5-drop unit that can also be exploited if we play Dooku, a really solid just 4-drop Morgan Elspeth and removal, and then we know in our blue neutral pool we have more removal, right? We opened a Vanquish. Unfortunately, our blue neutral pool is pretty weak outside of that. If we're going into hero, I think likely we have to think about this a little. I think blue is still potentially an option. Knight of the Republic's a good card. Hello, there's a good card. The Elite Corps is a playable. Representative is a playable. Yellow, I really would like to play Plo Koon, but our yellow hero pool is pretty light. And then if we look at our hero on the neutral side, you know, Sharpshooter's awesome. Freelance Assassin's solid. Clone Dive Trooper, not exciting, but maybe. Geonosis Patrol Fighter is good. On Top of Things is good. Breaking In is good. We'd probably even play this Tri-Droid Suppressor. So our yellow neutral pool is solid. And then we want to look at our neutral, like just heroism or just villainy. Our heroism, we have like 3 cards I'd probably want to play. The Armored Saber Tank, the Phase Clone Trooper, and the Drop-In. The villain stuff, I'd probably play the Dwarf Spider Droid and the Patrolling AAT and try not to play the Starfighter. Other colors to look at, I mean, we got to look at our red. We haven't really dug too much in. It's a villain one. So we got Daring Raid, which is solid. Both these upgrades are, Grenade Strike is solid. Clone Heavy Gunner's okay. Relentless Rocket Droid's okay. Relentless Torrent's pretty good. Bold Recon Commando's solid. Not great. And Dendup's Loyalist. So we get a couple more 2-drops with this color, which definitely helps. And a few early plays, especially like the removal. So the red is kind of appealing too. If we look at our villain red, it's really all about Savage. And if we look at our hero red, it's just a few solid rate units. So what am I leaning right now? We got to look at our leaders too. So villain, we've opened, we can basically play any color comfortably. If we could do like blue, green Dooku, we could do Maul mixed with like blue or green. I think yellow villain, not so much where I want to be. As for hero, really an unfortunate part of this is that Padme is our green, and if we wanted to play red or yellow, we couldn't do it with Padme. And like we would have to do it with Padme because it's our only leader that has green, and then Obi-Wan is blue, so of course we would be playing green, so Obi-Wan locks us into blue-green. Padme is the one that opens us up to any color combination. And she is, I don't think she's a great leader for draft or sealed. So it's tough. Like I'm not even sure exactly what I want to do other than I want to play green. But I think because of our villain blue pool, that I'm going to try to make this villain blue-green deck first and see what that looks like. Move the hero stuff here. We'll move the yellow stuff here. We'll move the hero green here. Okay, so we're doing a Dooku blue. This is our goal right now. So let's start looking at what this deck might look like. So 2-drop there, 4, 5. I like putting units in one row and interaction in another. It's another 2-drop. We got a bunch of really good 3-drops in this deck. Got a payoff all the way up here. Removal. Daughter of Dathomir. Our blue pool, other than the villain stuff, like the neutral stuff, not very good. Like, I'm already looking at it and thinking, wow, we might not actually have enough cards because I barely want to play most of these. Like, I'd probably end up playing Unshakable Will, but I don't really want to play a 1/4 for 1, or Grievous's Reassembly, or even Guarding the Way, Foresight and Duchess's Champion. This is all stuff that I'm not particularly excited to play. As far as like villain stuff, we'd probably end up playing both of those cards. We'd probably play Private Manufacturing just because I think we're going to end up having enough tokens, but that might not be the case. We have a couple generators here. Obedient Vanguard is a 1-drop. I'm just going to put it with the 2s. Subjugating. We got the Clone Wars in Defensive Camino combo, which just kind of goes over there. All right. So that's kind of our pool. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not looking great. We have only 4 turn 1 plays, 4 turn 2 plays. The curve's kind of a mess. And we don't really have enough cards. Oh, sorry, I missed one important one. All right, this is 5, 6, 10, 14, 16, 20, 23. So I'm not feeling this right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to pivot into a hero green. And then I'm going to pair that with not blue, because our blue pool, we noticed, is very soft. So we're going to get all the blue out of here. We're going to get the villain stuff out of here as well. That's the Confederate Courier and these 3. Let's put in Defensive Camino and Clone Wars just kind of together here. And now we're going to add the hero stuff. So we get the Republic Tactical Officer, Ayla Secura, Palta Supply Frigate, Synchronized Strike. We got some removal. And now we need to pick another color. Before we do that, let's just add drop in, Phase 2 Clone Trooper, Armored Saber Tank. All right. So this is, I like the curve already more. It's got 5 2-drops already, or 4 2-drops in a 1-drop. But this is going to be a Padme deck because it's the only way we can play anything other than blue, because Obi-Wan's the only other hero blue, and we identified that hero blue is not where we really want to be. So, red or yellow? We're going to try both, I think. So let's get the villain stuff out. Here's our red. Gonna move some stuff out of the way. You don't need to see them. All right, we'll start with red. So we get another decent 5-drop. We get Jesse, which is a solid turn 2 play. We get another 1-drop. We get Daring Raid. So our curve is getting much better for a deck like this. And we actually have a lot of little plays that might be able to turn Padme's ability on, which, is pretty important. Grenade Strike, some more removal, another solid 4-drop, another solid 3-drop, another solid 3-drop, another 2-drop, right? Another 2-drop. So strategic analysis, I don't think we're going to be playing something like that. Twice the Pride can't. These 2 upgrades would be maybes, Clone Cohort and Old Access Codes. And we also have a few potential neutral cards like Holdout Blaster and these 2 Volunteer Soldiers if we need them. Now, we're going to briefly look through the yellow stuff too. So Plo Koon we're very happy about. Clear the Field and Creative Thinking are both fine. We've, on top of things, Breaking In, Tri-Droid Suppressor, Hidden Sharpshooter, probably the best card in this pile. But I'm going to tell you right now, I could see how much red we just added to this deck. I think we are sticking to the red. We're going to count what we have here and then see what else we need. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 22, 24, 25. So we need to add 5 cards here, but we have options. So we're going to start thinking about them. First of all, we already know we have these as options, like the neutral cards and the other 2 red upgrades. But we start looking at some out of aspect stuff, like Plo Koon. For him for 7, you know, it's not great, but it's not terrible. Clear the Field for 4. It's not going to be a great card in general, but if our opponent is playing a bunch of tokens, clones, or droids, it does kill all of them. So it's a potential just like silver bullet in case we end up playing into that kind of strategy. I think Hello There potentially for 5 could end up being a card that makes the cut. This ETA 2 Light Interceptor could be a maybe as well. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I need to pick 5 of those cards to make this deck. And we're going to look at the curve as well. We are a bit more of an aggressive deck. I would have really liked to have like something bigger to play up at the top of the curve, but we're going to have to kind of do with being more aggro. And because that's the case, I might just play this. We're going to have a decent amount of big space units. It's not big, but it's like sturdy, and it might help us get there. We're going to add, I think we're going to add 1 more 3-drop. So we're going to do 1 Volunteer Soldier. We're not going to play the other one. I think we will end up playing Clone Cohort. I think it's okay actually to play it on Padme. She's a 2/7, so she's a very sturdy leader. So just putting an upgrade on her, she now starts hitting for 4, and then when she dies, you know, you get a token. So that's solid. So now we need 2 more cards. I think we will just play this Plo Koon. I think there's a chance late in the game you draw him, he can come in. Maybe you have 2 units out. He as a 7 cost, he still would ambush as for 6 damage. Not a terrible play. And then we are gonna play the 1 Hello There to kind of, it's gonna be a 5-drop. Now, we're kind of an aggressive deck, but I think our endgame plan really is this Clone Wars Indefensive Camino combo, 2-turn setup, but could be quite devastating. So this is gonna be a Padme red deck. And I think it actually looks quite solid to me. Like after playing, like we have some really powerful cards, like Ayla is fantastic. The combo I think is gonna be really, really, really strong in a sealed format. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I was a little worried there that we wouldn't be able to like our colors were so spread out that it was getting a little dicey there. And I think putting out the villain stuff and noticing that it wasn't really working, we just didn't have enough card quantity. And then it led us into like building this hero deck. And I think this looks quite good to me. And you know, won't know until we start playing with it, right? But yeah, let me know what you think. That's the end of this sealed build. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Take care.